Okay, I'm here. I know I'm late, but don't matter because I'm here. I am here. I had a hiccup. That's why I had to reset everything. Don't know what happened. Everything was going smooth until I got on live. Then the second I got on live, it started glitching and lagging, and I'm like, no. So I just reset the whole computer. But we're here now. We're still here. We are still here, and we're about to get into it. Um, First, let me start off with this one thing because this has nothing really to do with the topic of the video. But this was sent to me, and I thought that this was very interesting. This was a very interesting thing. Michael Myers accused of being anti-LGBT after killing gay couple in last Halloween movie, Halloween Kills. Okay, so there's been a new Halloween movie. I haven't seen it clearly. Evidently, there was a gay couple and that Michael Myers killed. So he is accused of being. Some people are saying that him killing this gay couple was homophobic. That he was homophobic for killing this gay couple. Do you listen? Listen, people, my brothers and sisters, my family. Do you see how irrational that those people can be? Do you see that? Now, Michael Myers has been around for decades killing straight people, and that's never been a problem. The second he tries to add some LGBTQ representation in his killing, then it's an issue. Like, do you like really? Do you see that? I mean, here we are being told that everybody deserves to be treated normal. That they're saying that they don't want any special privileges. They just want to be accepted as normal people and representation as normal people, right? So Michael Myers was like, okay, well, I don't discriminate. I'll kill anybody. So he killed them, and now he's homophobic. Really? Like, really? Okay. Dylan, bro, what's good with you? What is going on, bro? Looking forward to that video coming up soon. I definitely am. Let me see. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. I just want to touch on this real quick because it kind of doesn't have a lot to do with the video. It has nothing to do with the actual subject of the video. So, I don't want to say this and then, go off in a different direction. Hold on. I'm about to pull up. Now, remember a few videos ago, I did phone lines and I had people call in. And I had some white supremacist trolls call in. Well, I don't even know if they were trolling. I think they were very serious. But I had them call in and they said some things that I kind of wanted to debunk, but I wasn't really, didn't have enough time. Plus, it would have took a long time for me to properly debunk it the way I wanted to. So now that I have some time, I'm going to dedicate that video to those callers. Dedicate them to those callers and debunking a lot of the things that those callers had said. So you guys might want to get like a pen and paper because this is going to be a very educational video, me debunking these folks. I'm about to pull it up right now. Shh, don't mind that. All right. Okay, here it goes. Here it goes.
Let me turn the volume up a little bit. You guys hear?
Okay. There it is. I don't know why, because my computer reset, but anyway. Scroll up. So this is the first. I think this is the first caller, Peaches.
You can hear, right? You can hear, right?
I wish too. I wish when like I have an audio issue, I wish that you guys would let me know. I listened back to it. I believed that the audio was fine, but it got messed up like halfway through or whatever, and I guess you guys were captivated. So I'm not blaming you guys, but I'm like, damn, I wish that audio was better. But hopefully that got fixed now. So anyway,
But what's your name, caller? What's your name?
What's my name?
Yeah. You can just give me your first name. I'm not looking for like your whole first and last. Just or at least your name in the chat. Like I just want to know what to refer you as.
Oh yeah. You can call me. You can call me Peach.
Call you Peach.
Peach time. I'm Peach.
Peach
Call me
time.
Peaches.
Oh, you were the one who was commenting early. Can I ask you a question? Just real quick.
Don't call me a white supremacist, which
now
is
this
not
is
true.
now I don't like the fact that these they were kind of breaking up. The audio was breaking up a little bit, but as soon as he said his name was Peaches, I'm like, oh, this is the troll who actually called in. I did not think Peaches would call in. That's why I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna be fun. And then he goes off, you calling me a white supremacist in the chat room, so he starts saying that stuff.
And it's absurd. It's a lack of substance on your part.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question though? Because if I was wrong, let me correct myself. Are you a white man?
No, I'm not.
You're not a white man. You sound like, I'm gonna be honest, you sound like a white man.
Oh,
But okay, you're not a white man. Where are your people from?
The reason I asked that question is because I wanted to either determine if this was, because in the chat I couldn't tell, because I've had some black coons calling in the chat room, so I'm all like, I can't tell if this is a white man or if this is a black coon who's calling. So that's why I asked that.
So when I look into the mirror, I don't. I look as a proud American man that wants to be, you know.
Now he said he was not white.
I
That's
don't look
the
like I'm
thing.
the black man first, like you do. You seem to be. Your whole image is your color of your skin, which lacks substance and is void of anything that's going to make you anything, man. I mean, you're fighting a battle that's not worth fighting, man.
Okay.
Now, here's how they always start off. I thought this was hilarious that they actually called me. But here's how wow, I did not know I was wearing the same hat. That was not a planned thing. This was not a planned thing. But you know, they say the Lord works in mysterious ways. They always start off with trying to calm black people down. They always start off with, you know, we shouldn't really see race. Race isn't a problem. Racism, we got to look past that. We can't see each other as white and black. We should see each other as American. The reason why they say that is because they want it to be where we ignore the racial gap. We ignore the white privilege that they have. The fact that white people are years, generations ahead of black people. They have been assigned the dominant position. Okay, that's a quote from Abraham Lincoln. The superior position is assigned to the white man. They want us to ignore that, so that's why they're saying, oh, it shouldn't be about race. Stop thinking about the color of your skin. Think about you being American. So you guys know, and they'll say this all the time, white people don't really see race like that. White people don't think about race like that. White people wake up every day and recognize race. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them play dumb. They recognize race every single day. You wouldn't be seeing these Karens, millions and millions of Karen videos, if they didn't see race.
I don't mean to laugh, but audience, do you guys notice? And you said your name was Pete. Pete, are you nervous? And
Peaches.
Peaches.
Call me Peaches.
Peaches. That's a weird name for a man. Peaches. Okay. Peaches.
Hey, man.
No. To each his own. To each his own. To each his own. To each his own. I'm just saying.
So he's going
for
off
me,
because his name is
go on
Peaches.
a platform and say, "Call me Peaches, guys." But okay, do you notice how you like?
Call me whatever you want. Hey, you know what?
I'm just saying, do you notice how you pause? This is the person who said I did not have substance. This is the person who said I didn't have substance. This dude is, you don't have substance. I am an American. You fight like this, like it's like somebody's constantly pressing the pause button as you speak. Are you nervous, Peaches?
Who's pressing the pause? Nobody's pressing the pause.
I'm saying like you have like a
Now,
period between every other word in your.
Peaches has, he had like a stuttering problem. I don't know what it was. I fixed that. I corrected that. Peaches probably needs to pay me for that, but I corrected that. But Peaches had a big stuttering
Your
problem.
speech, like it's sounding like you're nervous, and your name is Peaches.
Oh, first off, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Dylan, Miss McCoy, Kenneth, Bronze the God, and Megan. Let me read something real quick before we get too deep into it. Yeah, Peaches and Patrick, P and P. Always remember those who speak truth to power, and evil is the most hated. And white supremacy hates to hear the truth. Kenneth is 100% right. Excuse me. Meg says Peaches, deep voice, but call please Peaches. Call me Peaches. Yeah, I know. Why would a grown man, like, I didn't even ask for his full name or anything. He could have just said P. I was just referring to him as P in the thing, and he was like, no, not P, Peaches. What? Peaches, like the Super Mario Princess Peaches? You want to be called Peaches as a grown man? Okay, all right. I mean, like I said, to each his own, I guess. And then Kenneth says, all that live and all that live in a post-racial society is because Barack Obama, but that's a big lie, and keep anti-black racism protected. Exactly. The whole, we gotta look past race, white people don't see race, race is like a thing of the past, that's an issue of the past, and we're better than that now, and all that's not how they see it. They want you to see it like that. So as they're getting their white privilege, as the dominant society is assigning them the superior position, you don't complain because you don't see race. Which they don't care if you see race. They just want you not to say anything about it. Just shut up about the fact that you're at the bottom because you're black. That's all they want.
So I could understand.
Hey, so ask me, man. What do you think about the black kids down in Chicago?
Now he keeps cutting in and cutting out.
Than all of the country of COVID. That a big concern for you? You don't care about that, huh? You only care when a white person kills a black man. Is that right?
Now, I just had a video that debunked that. He said, I don't care that there's been a bunch of black people. He was like, a bunch of killings in Chicago that last year that overshadowed the amount of killings due to C-19. You guys know what I'm saying. I don't want to say that, but the virus. And the reason why I'm like, let me look at the statistics of that specifically, because I'm not exactly sure if that's the case. But I've already discussed the black on black crime, and I've already specifically made a video addressing the crime in Chicago. He's talking about crime in Chicago. Oh, well, why don't you care about that, but you only care about it when a white person kills a black person? Dude. White people don't address the crime in their community at all whatsoever, period. They don't address that at all. White people make it seem like their community is crime-free and that people victimize them in their community. Black people are the only community that really openly addresses the issues that we have. Everybody else is very, very hush hush about everything. You see black people out here trying to actually fix the community, to end the violence in the community. Black people, the black grassroots, try harder to end the violence in Chicago or in other neighborhoods, black neighborhoods that have poverty, which is why there's crime in the first place. But more than the police, even though the fact that a huge, I would say the main reason is the corruption in Chicago. Chicago's like one of the most corrupt cities in America, if not the most corrupt city in America, in my personal opinion. If it's not it's definitely in the top 3.
Peaches, you know what? I do these videos a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you. You were talking about being a man and being of substance. Let's just be honest. You are a white man. You do not sound anything like a black person. You sound like the whitest white dude ever. You said that okay. You said I said you sound like a white man.
I let him speak. But the thing is, the only reason I said that, I was like, okay. When you called, he said that when he looks in the mirror, he doesn't view himself as a black man, just an American. Well, now I see, of course he doesn't view himself as a black man because he's not black. But he said he wasn't white. And the reason I asked that is because debunking a coon and debunking a white supremacist is not.
But you didn't press up to that. Are you a white man or no? Are you a white man? Just answer the question. What happened to white?
Now, the reason why I'm asking, are you a white man or no, is because I'm going to bring up a bunch of statistics and a bunch of things that now maybe he's watched some of the videos, but I'm going to bring up a bunch of things as to white crime. Because white people who claim to be colorblind, they claim, when he first called in, he claimed, I don't see race. We should stop seeing race. We should stop seeing this and this. And then immediately goes next to, okay, now let's talk about black people's crime. But they always claim we should stop seeing race. But anytime they talk about crime, they're specifically talking only about black people's crime. They're not talking about crime in general. They're not talking about school shooters. They're not talking about white kids making bombs. And they're not talking about white meth heads and all that stuff that they do in their communities. They're not talking about that when they talk about crime. When they talk about crime, it's, well, would you see Chicago? Look at all the black people who are killed in Chicago. I don't see race, though, but I do see black on black crime. So that's why I was all like, okay, well, you're a white man.
What happened to white pride, white power? Now we got pussy white people who don't even want to identify as white. If you're gonna be racist, just be open with it. Are you a white man?
You think there's only white and black people in this nation?
Okay, so you're not black. We can confirm that though, right?
So did that neglect me from the conversation?
No, I'm not gonna hang up on you if you're not black. I'm not gonna hang up on you if you're not black. I'm just asking because it matters in the conversation.
Your whole point of view, your whole perspective on everything is about you being black, and you're a victim. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing else matters.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Can I ask you a question? How did you find this channel?
I am here to have conversations.
No, okay. You talked about now I ask you a question.
Let's talk about how much you care about your brothers and your sisters that are getting shot in the street, and you don't give a shit about them. You only care when the black people or when the white people are killing them, right?
No, of course not.
That's the same thing Troy's TV said. Troy's TV was all like, black people don't care about black on black crime. They only care about the crime that is done to them by other people. And like I said before, when I was addressing Troy's, when he made that comment, nobody else is held to the standard of we have to end all crime within our community. because you never, ever, ever hear white people talk about, we have to stop all this white on white crime. White on white crime is outrageous. This is crazy, all this white on white crime. You don't hear Asian people talking about Asian on Asian crime. You don't hear Hispanic people talking about Mexican on Mexican crime. And they have whole crime organizations, whole gang lords and all that stuff. But you don't hear them talk about it. They can talk about their victimization, though. When the Stop Asian Hate thing, when that was going on, and they were talking about, okay, we got to stop black people, random black people who were beating us up. And now I made like 3 videos addressing that, so you guys can already go back and look at that and see what I have to say on that. But when they were talking about, we need to stop Asian hate crimes, nobody at all said, well, you can't talk about Asian hate crimes until you talk about Asian on Asian violence. You can't say that. Why are you mad that black people are attacking? Fake, but why are you mad that black people are attacking Asian people if you're not mad that Asian people are attacking Asian people? Nobody said that to them. When Hispanics were protesting against ICE raids and being deported or whatever, nobody said, okay, well, we can't say anything about Hispanic kids at the border or the detention center. We can't say anything about them at the detention center because we have all this Hispanic on Hispanic crime. We can't complain about what the white man is doing to us or what other people are doing to us, because we have problems that we need to fix ourselves, and that should be the number one thing. When white people complain, and white people complain a lot, they do. When white people feel like they're being attacked, or when white people complain or whatnot, nobody says. Now these same people would say Black Lives Matter were destroying neighborhoods. They were like just torching neighborhoods down to the ground, right? That's what they said. Remember, when they were showing their clips, they were showing like the same 3 or 4 clips of a burning building, and they were saying Black Lives Matter, just Black Lives Matter, which means black people were destroying neighborhoods. They made it seem like Black Lives Matter was doing what they did with Tulsa, Oklahoma, dropping bombs. Black Lives Matter didn't drop any bombs or completely destroy neighborhoods like that. But what's interesting is when we talk about destroying neighborhoods in white culture, and you can look this up, this isn't even just me speaking. A lot of you guys can contest to this yourself. But in white culture, they have a thing where they destroy their own neighborhoods in their own towns after a sporting event. If you look at the when they lose or win a sporting event, like I think when the Cubs won at, what was that, 2017 or something like that. When they won a few years ago, there was riots everywhere and white folks flipping cars over. I remember specifically seeing on the news when the England, it was a football game. It was the Super Bowl, and the England forgot their name. The Philadelphia Eagles. When the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl in Philadelphia, a whole bunch of white people went downtown, busting out windows. They were standing on cars, standing on street lights, flipping cars over. Police are standing there. They are literally standing right by. They're standing right by, giving the white folks high fives. There was this one white dude eating horse. I don't want to curse in this one because I'm like been cursing a little bit too much. He was eating horse crap. He literally, there was a group of people like, do it. He was like, I'll do it, dude. And he grabbed a handful of horse crap and he ate it. Okay. So when white people, and this has been going on for years, when white people have a sporting event, they'll just completely wreck their city, their own city where they own stuff. But they'll say, nobody said these alt-right people who participate in those, they do that for that. They do that for the colleges, like the fraternities and stuff. They're known for doing that. But nobody said, well, we can't say anything about Black Lives Matter destroying a building or raiding a store, because we raid stores too, and we have to fix ourselves before we try to address Black Lives Matter. Nobody is held to the standard of we have to completely get rid of everything wrong with our community before we address wrongdoings done to us in our community. Even though the fact that the whole black people were breaking in and they made it seem like just black people were just dragging babies out of their house and just like sacrificing them. All of that stuff was exaggerated. A lot of that stuff, and I said this in another video, a lot of that stuff was started by them, and they were pretending to be allies in the Black Lives Matter thing, which is why I said, don't feel like every white person with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt on is your friend. I said that. There was a few people who was all like, don't you see all these white allies that we have? Isn't this the most beautiful thing in the world? I'm like, don't be impressed by that. Okay? Now let's go on. I'm going to read some of your comments after I get to this specific mark I'm looking for in the video.
So what's going on in Chicago, man? You don't care about all those kids getting shot? You care about all those kids dying from COVID, though, I bet, but not the kids dying in Chicago, right? Come on, let's talk.
Hold on. First off, I want you to thank me because I got rid of your speech impediment. The dude was stuttering like a robot when he first got on the phone. You can tell this. Hold on, I'm gonna mute you. You can tell that this is a white man by the way he just said. You care about your brothers and your sisters, right? But what about the black on black crime in Chicago, man? What about that, dude? See, this is why I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump again. Peter, thanks for watching. That's the best you got, dude. That's the best you got, dude. That's the best you got, dude. This is the white dude.
Now, I was thinking about addressing that, but I've decided, I'm like, you know what? That needs to be broken down. Because what he's trying to do, because if I say the black on black crime in Chicago, first off, there's crime in Chicago. Chicago is a very diverse place, to be honest. It's a very diverse city. It's a very segregated city, though. You have sections where pretty much only black people live. It's like that's a whole black town, a whole black neighborhood, a whole black section of Chicago. Then you have sections of Chicago where wealthy, well-to-do white people live. Then you have sections of Chicago where Hispanic people live. Then you have sections of Chicago where Asian people live. You have all these different sections of Chicago. But anytime somebody says crime, the default person to blame is black people. So you can just look at how many people were killed in Chicago. Not all of them were black, and not all of them were done by black people. They'll say, okay, any crime in Chicago, period, is black. That just blame it on black by default. All of the crime in Chicago is done by a black person. Whether a black person was convicted, caught, arrested, anything. If a person died in Chicago, it's the fault of a black person. That's their logic, why they keep bringing up Chicago.
And what is your fact? This is so entertaining. What is your fact?
What do you want to talk about?
I don't want to.
Let's talk, man.
Okay. Well, you won't even admit the fact that you're white. You won't even. Where are you from? What state are you in?
Now, the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I asked what state is he in, is because I did intend to address what he said about Chicago. But I'm like, okay, before I address that, let me see, are you actually from Chicago? And most people who are from Chicago really don't talk like that, okay? When white folks address the crime in Chicago, they're not from Chicago. They're from someplace else, never been to Chicago, but they want to address that because they see on Fox News when they talk about black on black crime in Chicago. Black on black crime. But I was trying to take him serious. I was about to take him serious by asking, like, first, we can have an honest conversation. you're not going to even admit that you're white. I don't know if you're white, if you're a white Hispanic. I know you're not a black person. I know you don't sound like a black person. I don't know where you're from. And then I asked, okay, well, what state do you live in? I don't know what state he lives in, because I was going to address the meth head, the opioid epidemic, and whatever state he was in, or the white on white crime in states he was in, because there's extremes amount of white on white crime, while he's talking about black on black crime.
I'm on the border down here, bro. I'm a fucking.
What do I tell you guys about these Hispanics? What do I tell you guys about these Hispanics? Now, him being Hispanic does not mean he's not white. This is a white man. This is a white man with some a little wavy hair. That's all that is. This is a white man. You can hear it in his voice.
It kept cutting in and out, but he did say he was Hispanic. Like I said, him saying he's Hispanic does not mean he is not a white person. He's still white. He's still white. Most Hispanics identify and view themselves as white. A lot of them do.
Come on, man. You don't have any content coming on your channel. Let's talk.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
And to be honest, he didn't really sound Hispanic. If he was, he might have been. But if he was, he didn't sound Hispanic. He sounded like the average everyday white dude.
I'll give you 30 seconds to give me something to talk about. Hey, don't we don't say the V word. We do not say the V word on this channel. Okay.
You guys know what the V word / jab. You guys know what that is. And he said it. I'm like, let's not talk about that.
So you have to substitute that. But okay. Can we talk about something germane to the topic tonight? Because I did not bring that up tonight at all. You've been watching and trolling the entire show, so you know what the topic is about.
Yeah, then he's playing these games. I'm like, okay, well, I will let you say what you... Because he said, you don't have substance. You don't have substance. This channel doesn't have substance. You're just talking about race. You're just talking about race. So I said, okay. Because ain't nobody going to tell me I don't have substance. So I'm like, okay, all right. To prove your point and to prove it to the audience, which is all I care about, you, family, my brothers and sisters. I don't care about him. But I'm like, okay, I will let you go 30 seconds and you can say whatever you want to say. And then I will debunk what you have to say. I'm like 30 seconds clear. He starts talking about the jab. No, we're not going to go completely into that conversation. I'm like, can we talk about something that is germane to the subject tonight? And then he's all like, well, what's the subject tonight? No, we're not doing. And you see, I didn't tell him. When white people come in and they play these little stupid games, black people need to stop playing stupid games with stupid white people. He knew exactly what the subject was that night because he was in damn near the entire time trolling. He came in at least like 20 minutes into the that video, and he was trolling close to the whole time until I had to mute him. I had to mute him because he was trolling so damn much. And he still stayed on the video because he was the first person to call in. So he's talking about, okay, well, what's the subject? He knows what the damn subject was. Where is? Okay.
Well, talk to me, man.
Now he's saying talk to me. I gave him the chance to speak.
He's Hispanic. He sounds way more Caucasian than Hispanic. That's great, dude. What, do you guys hear Hispanics say dude like that? That's great, dude. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Now, this is where I kind of troll him a tad bit. I'm gonna read some of the comments now. I troll him a little bit because I'm like, okay, I gave you your chance. You was talking about all I see is race. You don't talk about anything with substance, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, 30 seconds, go. Give me something. If you're saying that this channel has nothing, let me debunk that. Let me prove that. I'm giving you the floor right now. 30 seconds, say what you want to say, as long as it's germane to the thing. He's like, okay, well, give me something to talk about. No, I'm not gonna give you something so we can have a conversation. You the one who called into the channel, but you don't have nothing to say. You don't call into nobody's channel talking about, can you give me something to talk about? What? No, I wasn't gonna do that with him. That's why I'm like, okay, you're a joke at this point. Then I saw other callers on the line. Let me address some of the comments that we have. Okay. Bronze the God said, that's because they live in a delusional state of reality. They believe that they are the moral standard and everyone else is their child, and they need to wag their wicked fingers at us. They do. When they addressing the black on black crime, they see themselves, and I've been saying this for a while, white people by default, because this is how society raises people in general, to view white people as the authority, as the superior race, as the parent. They view white people as the parent. That's why these Karens have it so in their brain that they can check anybody. You see so many times. I saw this one video. This black girl was making a TikTok. She had, she was at a Target, had her phone up on the shelf, doing her dance or whatever. This white lady comes up, takes her phone, and the black girl's like, hey, that's my phone. She was like, well, why was it right there then? She was like, well, I was making a video or whatnot. And then she's all like, well, I don't believe you. I'm gonna take this phone up to them. So she took it to the customer service, and then customer service found out that it was her phone. White people automatically feel like they have the authority to tell you what to do, what not to do. These Karens, when they block people from their apartment, okay, well, prove to me that you live here. You have never seen a white person do that to another white person, where a white person tries to get into their apartment complex and another white dude's blocking them off. You don't live here. I've never seen you before. Well, why don't I see some ID? You got the average white person, regular everyday white person, acting like they got authority to see the ID of a black. Okay, well, if you live here, let me see your ID. Who are you to be asking people for ID? Because they have in their head that they are the authority. They are the parents of black people, and that black people are in this subservient position to all white people. That's what they have in their head. That's what white supremacy teaches them. Okay. Kenneth says Chicago is corrupt by history, nature, and social engineering. Also, Chicago is the most racially segregated city in America. It's like the tale of two cities here. Yes, it is. Chicago has a long history of corruption. It's not just black people. Everybody in Chicago is perfect, but the black people. Chicago's been corrupt for damn near like its origin. Okay. Some of the biggest drug lords been through Chicago, and they came to Chicago for a specific reason. Chicago's corrupt as hell. And it is the most racially segregated city. It's so segregated. It's like if you travel a few miles out, it's almost like you live in a completely different world. The buildings are different. The stores are different. The people are different. It's like if you took different countries and you put them real close together. You took a small piece and you put them on a map. Different countries with different people in it. That's how crazy Chicago is with its segregation. You go down south, black people, black people, black people, black people. You see buildings with huge potholes, all this poverty. You drive 20 minutes. You drive 20 minutes to another neighborhood, then you see Hispanics. The buildings different, the restaurants, everything is. I'm telling you, Chicago. If you guys have been here, and Kenneth is from Chicago, so he knows. And then let me see what else he says. Exactly. Look at how they act after the hockey team loses. They will completely wreck their own stores, wreck their own buildings, after a sporting event. Then Bronze the Guy continues to say, I remember that the city literally prepared for that, and nobody was kidnapped by the race soldiers and beaten and maced. Exactly. Cities prepare because they know it's a part of white culture that after a sporting event, sometimes win or lose, win or lose. They'll just wreck stuff. If it's a big sporting event, a bunch of drunk white people, if sometimes drunk, sometimes not drunk, they'll just go flip over cars, bust windows out. They'll just go completely destroy things. You don't see white cops over here macing kids. You don't see them with tear gas. You don't see them with billy clubs beating people, trucks full of kids that they're arresting. You don't see that. You don't see the mayor calling them thugs and criminals and saying nothing like. You don't see nobody even speaking against those people. But they got the smoke for black people trying to protest against black violence, or against violence done on black people, anti-black racism. Kenneth says Chicago has violence, but St. Louis, Missouri is rated the most violent city in America. The last time I checked the statistics, exactly. Chicago is not the most violent city. Even Browns of God says Chicago isn't even in the top 5 most dangerous cities in the U.S. It's not. Chicago is not the most dangerous city. They always bring up Chicago because Chicago is synonymous with black people. That's the reason that they bring that up. But Chicago is not the most dangerous city. It's not the city with the highest amount of murders. It's not the city with the highest amount of crime. But they'll bring up Chicago because by default, Chicago is so closely tied to black people. They'll be all like, okay, well, if I say Chicago, then by default, that means black on black crime. And then he says, yeah, Chicago's not a, Nino Black says, what's up, fam? I'm late. Well, it's good to have you here. Better late than never. Lakeshore Drive, Barber and Hyde Park. I used to play basketball in Jackson Park. Oh, okay. Used to live in Chicago. Where you, just quick side question, Nino Black, where do you stay now, if you don't mind us asking? Baltimore is more violent than Chicago. Exactly. You have so many more cities more violent than Chicago, yet anytime somebody wants to bring up black crime, they're talking about Chicago. Okay, so let's continue. Hold on. Okay, if we can get the likes up a little bit, people, I appreciate that, family. And share, if you haven't shared, please do that. You know, put it on your social media. Help me out. I appreciate that. Like and subscribe if you guys have not subscribed. Oh, you're in Atlanta. You know, Black is in Atlanta. How is it there, bro? Now let me, as you're telling me that, let me skip past, because then Dylan calls, but Dylan doesn't need a breakdown because we already know how he's solid. Let me see. Where's Patrick?
Okay.
I wish the phone. I'm gonna do something to make the phones clear, so next time I have people call in, the phone is.
It's about a fact.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, let's show. Now I got to do another one. I
then it was an issue with the phone
for the show. That's how I use it.
Taunting you and oppressing you. Explain to me how that works. Explain to me why you feel the white men are oppressing you.
Okay. Listen, black people, I want to let you know. What the white supremacist does, they completely understand how white supremacy works. And they will waste your time. I'm not going to explain to a white man how white supremacy works. He knows how it works. We're going to be wasting time for me explaining, and he's like, I don't think so.
You don't, because you can't explain it. Because if you could explain it, you would.
Okay. So let me ask you.
Now, what do we know? We know as black people. Thanks to our ancestors, our recent ancestors, and shout out to Dr. Frances Quest Relsing when she said, white people play dumb about racism and black people play dumb with them. I am not playing dumb. I know for a fact white people are not ignorant to racism. White people are always calling, well, how is it racist? I just don't understand how it's racist. I think we live in this fair society. It's just black people just evil. That's what I think. I don't see how white people are. They know. These are the same white people that protested when the government said everybody got to wear masks. Remember last year when they were saying everybody has to wear masks and only the white people were showing up to anti-mask protests? It was only white people saying, well, you can't tell me what to do. This is oppression. This is oppression. They are very sensitive when they feel like somebody is oppressing them, when they feel like there's some type of power that oppresses them, even though it's not they didn't target white people. They didn't say only white people wear masks, but they said, okay, everybody has to wear masks to go in the store. You see black, I know my rights. It's not a constitution. I can't believe this. This is against America. This is fascism. That's how you saw white people. So white people are very, very, very sensitive to being told, to feeling like someone is oppressing them, someone is ruling over them. Yet they act like they have no idea what black people are talking about. I just don't understand. I have no idea what you're talking about. The police, well, if black people just respected the police, then the police might not beat you up so much. White people know. This is why I said we're not going to play these games where I explain racism. Black people, do not explain racism to white people. Okay, I'm here to tell you guys that, but we're not gonna explain racism to white people as if he doesn't know. He knows exactly. He knows exactly what the hell is going on. Because the second anything makes white people upset, the second I'm talking about anything, white people be the first ones to damn it protest about something. They're right now trying to protest because they're trying the schools claiming with critical race theory to teach your kids not to say the N-word. So they're, oh, well, this is oppression. You're teaching white people to be ashamed of themselves or whatnot. They're very sensitive to anything you tell white people.
Question, Patrick. This is a learning lesson. Let me ask you a question, Patrick. You feel you live in America, don't you? Hello? Okay, you live in America. And you feel like America is completely free of racism.
No nation is free of racism.
Okay. Where is racism in America? Where is racism in America?
Now, I'm going to tell you why I did this. Then I'm going to let it play for a minute. When we talk about racism, when white people talk about racism, they're talking about, okay, well, racism is just a mentality. They don't want to bring up systemic and systematic racism that oppresses people. They're talking about, if you don't like me because I'm white, then that's racism. And that's the only thing. It's just a mentality. It's not a system. Even though I broke down by definition, racism is a system. That it actually is a system of oppression, of racial oppression. That's the definition of racism. So he's like, America's not, he said in the beginning, America's not racist anymore. I'm like, okay, so you're saying it doesn't have any racism at all. White people know better not to say it doesn't have any, because then they can be debunked easy. So I'm like, okay, where is it? And what system and what element is there racism in America? And you see, he starts slipping up then. He's like, damn.
The only nation that fought to end racism and end slavery.
Then he goes on to, okay, well, America fought to end racism. America never fought to end racism. And he was like, America fought to end slavery. America, and he's talking about the Civil War. This is something the white supremacists and alt-right talked about. Okay. America didn't fight. Well, America fought America. America literally fought America. There was half America was fighting another half of America to keep slavery. It was a battle about slavery. They made it seem like America fought some outside of America entity to end slavery. America fought who? America fought America. It was a civil war. They were both American, even though they broke the Confederacy tried to break off and they tried to create their own nation. They was like, okay, you know what? The Union, y'all not gonna tell us anything about our slaves. We'll just create our whole government. Then they were like, okay, well, now we have to fight because y'all not gonna create your whole government or whatnot in this land. So that's really how that went down. But it was about slavery. When you hear white people that, well, America fought to end slavery, America fought who? They made it seem like America fought some alien invasion to end slavery. And then somebody says, I should have asked him, what year did racism end? That's a really good question. What year did it end? If they fought to end racism, they fought to end racism. So what year did white people succeed in ending racism? I'm gonna read some of your comments.
Okay, well, that's not answering the question. That's not answering the question. Where is racism in America? You said there's racism in America. Where's racism?
And you see how I stuck on that question. I stayed on that question. I'm not letting, because too many black people, when they have white people ask them something, when I ask him a question, then he's going to change the direction to, well, white people actually fought to end slavery. White people did this. That's great, sir. But answer my question. I'm the host. This is my channel. You called into this channel. I'm not going to sit up there be following you around answering your question or talking about what you wanted to talk about. When I ask you a question, we're not talking about anything else besides what I asked you.
Racism in America.
The majority of racism comes from black people.
Oh, really? Okay. So what?
Now, he said majority of racism came from black people. At that point, I knew I got him. I'm like, okay. Majority of racism comes from black people. Okay, all right. So,
actions do black people do?
If I was to walk into a
No. Let me ask you, because you said majority of racism comes from black people.
So that you walk into a white community would get jumped.
Okay, you would say you would get jumped because you probably...
First off, that's a lie. America literally has sundown towns. They still have sundown towns. There is no sundown town version for black people. There's no white version of like if you go into a black neighborhood after this time of night, then white people will kill you. Then black people will kill you. Black people ain't out here killing white people in their neighborhoods like that. He was like, well, if I go to a black neighborhood, it's a high chance that I'm going to get jumped versus when a black person goes to a white neighborhood. You be seeing black people go to white neighborhoods and then literally not come out. You see black people being hung from like 20 feet trees and then the police saying, well, it looks like that was suicide. I don't know how he shot himself in the back of the head, then hung himself, but that looks like that was clear suicide to me. Nothing to see here. There are literally sundown towns still in America. There are literally black people still being lynched in America. And he's talking about it's more dangerous for a white person to go to a black neighborhood than a black person to go to a white neighborhood. Get the hell out of here.
You probably get jumped because you were probably in the black community trying to harm black people. But so no, okay, so you feel like you would get jumped by...
There's a lot of white people that just walk through black communities and shoot up black communities.
And now the phone's cutting in and out again a little bit.
Black communities? I don't think so. It's black on black violence.
I don't know what black on black... Let me ask you, okay, so you feel like...
Anytime somebody... This is the rule now. The rule, okay? When somebody talks about black on black crime, be all like, well, I don't know what that is. That's exactly what I said. Black on black crime, yeah. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And then when they try to say, well, black on black crime is black people killing black people. Like, that's weird. That sounds like crime to me. That sounds like just crime. Why are you giving it the black on black label? What's that for? Anything they say, well, is black people killing black people? I'm like, well, why is that not crime? Why are you making it a racial thing? When they say, oh, well, what about black on black crime? I'm like, I don't know what that is. You play dumb just like how they be playing dumb. Be all like, well, what about black on black crime? What is that? I've never even heard of that before. That's a new thing. You're making stuff up, sir. I don't think that's a real thing.
You feel like you say that white people are not... Don't overtalk the host. You say that white people are not racist anymore.
Of course there's white people that are racist.
Okay, how are white people racist? What do they do? What do white people do to make them racist?
The same thing that black people do.
No. See. When I said what do they do, I'm talking about actions. I am talking about actions. I'm talking about the school to prison pipeline. I am talking about the criminal injustice system. I am talking about a racist police brutality. I am talking about just racist alt-right people who just be murdering black people. Like what's his name? I forget their last names. Who killed Ahmaud Arbery? I forget the forgot their last names. Those two white dudes who just killed black people. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the everyday Karens that you're seeing harassing black people. I'm talking about those are actions. Those are things that are done to black people. So I'm all like, okay, what if you're saying black people are the ones who are racist? Do black people do those same racist things to white people though? So I'm like, okay, well, what actions do white people do to make them racist? And then he's like, oh, I can't say that because there's no equivalent to black people doing that. Black people don't do to white people what white people do to black people. So let me deflect again and let me talk about black people.
Specific question. What actions do white people do? They judge them. Okay.
It's judgment on the color of
Okay.
the skin.
Okay.
So judgment, exactly. Racism, Neo Black said, racism is not laws, policies, is not anything systemic. That is just name calling. So if you call somebody a cracker, then that's racist. That's just as racist as a white person calling you a nigger. So, you know, that's just racism. Racism is just being mean, just being racially mean. It's like, okay, judging somebody off the color of their skin. And apparently, according to Patrick, black people judge people off the color of their skin more than white people do. So here, now, let me finish playing it.
So you, Patrick, are you a victim of racism? Okay. So
Now, he said, of course, yes. He said, of course, yes. I don't know if you heard that. Now, listen.
A black person oppressed you as a white man.
Now, I'm sitting now. Anytime racism goes both ways. Racism goes both ways. Okay, all right. I'm not going to, and this is why I had to make this. When you're talking to a white person and they're going back and forth or whatnot, don't explain what racism is. They know very well what racism is. Ask for specific examples. I'm like, okay. So you're a victim of racism, right? You're saying racism is equivalent. It's not even equivalent. There is more racism on the black side than it is on the white side. That's what you're saying. So I'm like, okay. So you are a victim of racism. You're a victim of racism, right? And he said, of course. Okay. So I'm like, okay then. Then he starts cutting
No,
out.
I'm asking because I'm asking your personal. I believe you. I'm starting to be convinced. I just want to know an example. I just want to know an example. What? Give me an example of your personal experience of how a black person has oppressed you as a white man.
I've never let anybody oppress me because
Now, that's the thing. Now, when we're talking about racism, so I'm like, okay, if black people are racist, if we're the racist ones, how are black people? Give me one example of how black people oppressed you as a white man. How, and make sure it's specifically a black person doing that because you're a white person. It's not I didn't get the job and I feel like the interviewer was black and I didn't get the job. That's racist. I'm like, okay, how are black people oppressing white people? If racism can go both ways, if anybody can be racist, how are black people oppressing white people? And look at what he's saying. He doesn't know what to say.
Okay, but you just said you were a victim of racism. You just said that you were a victim of racism, Patrick. You're backtracking. Okay. So either it happened or it didn't happen. Okay, no, Patrick, don't overtalk the host now, because you will get muted or dropped. Now, you're okay. So you are a victim of racism, yes or no?
everybody's been a victim to racism, and black people can be racist just as much as.
Now, he said he's a victim of racism and black people can. Let me actually put the caption on. That might make it a little bit easier. And he said he's a victim of racism and black people can be just as racist as white people. Okay, he's still going with that. I don't even know if you guys can see the caption, but oh well.
White people can be racist, so don't be fucking stupid.
Okay. So how have black people harmed you in your life?
I've only harmed myself. Nobody else has harmed me.
And do you want to know why that is? Do you want to know why that is?
Now, here's the thing. Anytime a black person talks about racism being done to them, black people can give you specific examples of multiple elements in America that has racially oppressed them, that has treated them with anti-black racism. White people can't do that. They can't bring up an example of the school suspending them for things that they let black people get away with. They can't bring that up. They can't bring up the fact that they get pulled over by a black cop for driving while white. They can't do that. Or the judge giving them a longer sentence than a black person would for the same crime. They can't bring that up. They can't bring up the fact that when they having their house, their property appraised, their property gets appraised for a lower rate than the same property would as for a black person. Black people can bring up all of these examples. So I'm like, okay, well, give me some example of an action that has been done to you because you are white from a black person. And they can't. He can't.
Do you want to know why that is, Patrick?
Now he's saying nobody has oppressed me. Nobody has oppressed me. And that's because he's white. And they're the oppressors. You can't oppress the oppressors because then they wouldn't be the oppressors.
Do you want to know why that is? That is because white people are at the top of the racial hierarchy and white people run everything. That is why. Because black people cannot harm you. He's just admitted to what I'm saying. Black people are not in a position to harm white people, but white people are in a position to harm black people. So Patrick kind of told on himself. Patrick told on this. Yes, I am a victim of white supremacy. Just as long as every single.
Now, when they you're playing the victim thing. You're playing the victim thing. Yeah, I'm black, and we live in a system of white supremacy. So yeah, I can give you examples of racism that's been done to me because I'm black. You can't give me examples. So yeah, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to admit that white supremacy is a fact. Oh, you're a victim. They're saying that because they want you to deny it because you're trying to make a point like, oh, I'm not weak. Oh, I'm not victimized. I'm strong. We all like, oh, well, you're saying you're a victim. Yep, I sure am. I sure am a victim of white supremacy. Yes, indeed, I am. Me and my people. Even if I'm like LeBron James, which he's gonna bring up, even if I'm LeBron James, I'm still a victim of white supremacy. You still got nobody white interviewers telling LeBron James he needs to shut up and dribble because they still feel like they got authority over LeBron James. As long as my people, and when I say my people, I mean black people are a victim of white supremacy, then shit, I'm a victim of white supremacy. Because I can't succeed over my people.
Black American, every single foundational black American is a victim of white supremacy.
You know, I want to play in the NBA. Why can't I play in the NBA, man? I'm a victim. I'm oppressed.
You're a victim because you can't play in the NBA? I'm sure. Why can't you what?
Now, he saw how dumb that sounded. He tried to troll, and he saw how dumb that sounded. I'm like, okay. So I repeated. I'm like, are you sure you want to go there? And then he changed what he had to say.
Black substance, like you claim to be a victim, and you live in the most free nation in the world as far as other Americans go. Other Americans don't care about the color of your skin. They care about the content of your character.
What? Hold on.
Now they'll say this all the time, but yet they won't address the Karens who literally will tell black people, "Why are you in this pool? You're in this pool. I've never seen you before. Let me see your ID. Let me see the average Karens, no authority, not lawmakers, not police officer. Let me see your ID. Okay, I'm calling the cops. They don't see race though. Amy Cooper, they'll say Amy Cooper didn't see race when she was on the phone talking about, well, if you tell me to do something with my dog again, I'm going to call the cops. And I'm going to say that a black man, an African-American, is trying to harm me. I will call them. They see race. Don't let them lie to you. Then he's like, it's not about the race. It's about the content of the character. They love using that Martin Luther King line. That's the only one they use, though.
What did I say about white people bringing up Dr. King? I said that in this very video. I said white people hated Dr. King. They killed Dr. King in the past, and now they're going to bring up Dr. King like they love Dr. King. Oh, it's about the content of your character, and we're going to sit down. And I said that in this very video. That's how you know I know what I'm talking about. And then the second I have a white person call in, he says exactly what I said.
You're so smart, though, because the CIA, everything that the CIA and the FBI and the government does represents just white people. That's it.
Watch this. Okay.
You know, I mean,
Okay. Let me ask
So
you a question.
I had him. It's like I get the reason why, and why I was saying watch this is because like when you're fishing, I don't know if you guys have fished before, but when you're fishing, you feel that tug, and then you feel it again, and it kind of pull a little bit. Because sometimes when you're fishing, now I fish. Not recently, but I know how to fish. So when you feel that tug, sometimes it could be caught on like maybe a plant or an item in the water. So that's why I'm like, okay, all time you pull and it doesn't all the way give, it could be caught on something else. That doesn't mean it's a fish. But when you feel it pull back, I'm like, okay, so now you know you have a fish. So what I'm doing is, and when you're fishing, I'm giving fishermen advice. When you're fishing, don't reel it in as fast as you can all the way, because then it might get unhooked. You gotta kind of slowly reel it in and stop, let it kind of swim away, slowly reel it in and stop. You gotta get the hook deeper in the fish. Because sometimes when it gets hooked, it might have got hooked on a little fin, and if you try to pull it in real fast, then the hook comes out. So you gotta get that hook deep in there. So I'm like, watch this. I'm setting him up, because I'm getting this hook real deep in there. As soon as he mentions Dr. King, this is how they met. Well, it's about the content of the character, and it's not about the color of the skin. I don't see color of the skin, even though he was just talking about how black people are racist. He's just talking about how racist black people are to white people. Then he's talking about, I don't see color. It's not about color. Okay, all right.
white people.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Patrick. So you clearly respect Dr. King, right?
I respect the message and the idea of what people represent, the way they present.
Okay, so do you think you feel like Dr. King? You think his message was a good message of, black people, white people getting together? Some of it. Okay, so what wasn't a good message?
Everybody's message.
Okay, what do you disagree? What do you disagree with Dr. King's message?
Well, I know you want to bring up the idea of violence.
No, not violence. What do you do? What do you agree with? Disagree with?
King, there's a quote that Dr. King talked about violence, and she thought it was going to be necessary. So I want to ask you if that's relevant. So.
No.
Now, see, white people know. White people know history, and that's the thing. That's why black people need to know history. White people know who Dr. King really was. They just create this image of Dr. King. He just said, oh, if you're going to talk about the fact that Dr. King said that it would eventually come to blows. Now, they like to market Dr. King as if Dr. King lived his entire life as this pacifist who believed that no fighting should go on whatsoever. This white supremacist dude, he knows the fact that Dr. King did not end his life like that. Dr. King said he feels like this racial tension will eventually end in blows where white people and black people are physically fighting each other. That is what Dr. King said. Dr. King made, and I had a whole video on Dr. King. Dr. King made a big transformation towards the end of his life. White people know about that. White people do. They don't let black people know about it. When they bring up Dr. King, all they want to talk about, well, didn't Dr. King say that we should be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin? Shouldn't we all get along? Didn't Dr. King say he had a dream? Don't we want to follow Dr. King's dream? That's because they want Dr. King to be the martyr of peace and submissiveness. That the peaceful pacifist who didn't advocate for violence, who just wanted to be integrated with white people. They know he didn't end his life like that. That's why he had to be killed. because Dr. King stopped being like that. He was all like, okay, all this integration stuff, I felt like I led my people into a burning building. He said that. He said that, hey, we need to start getting reparations. We're coming to get this check. He said that. He said, hey, this racial tension, all this, we turn the other cheek and we don't want to hit back and everything. This might come down to blows. He said that. White people know he said that. But when they talk about Dr. King, all they want to talk about is, well, he had a dream, right? He had a dream that white people and black people stop judging each other. So you need to stop calling out racism because that goes against Dr. King's dream. They know history, which is why it's important for us to know history.
Not that. Okay. So, but you agree with the dream speech, right? You agree with with white people, because we're all Americans, right? You agree with that? Because we're all Americans. We are all living in the same country. We all have to feed our families and everything, right? Right? So we're getting somewhere.
That's that hook. I'm getting that hook in. Now, okay, that hook is getting in deep.
Real quick. Okay, we should look past that because we all bleed red. We're all human beings. We all wake up. We all eat. We all sleep. Everything, right? No. I think we're on the right page.
And he feels the hook. He feels the hook because he knew I was disagreeing. So now he's like, I don't know what this is, but there's this painful thing, the painful item in the side of my stomach. I feel it in me. He felt the hook. He knew like, oh, this dude got me now. That's why he's trying to backtrack because he's like, oh, okay, why is this dude all of a sudden agreeing with me? This doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. I said something wrong. So that's why he's trying to backtrack now.
Patrick, we're on the same page, Patrick. We're on the same page. I think you're coming at me. We're on the same page. Let me ask you. No. You were, but now you're not. Okay.
He's like, yeah. You just called me a white supremacist. I'm like, no, you were a white supremacist, but now you're not.
I'm saying we're on the same page, right? Right? That's what you said. Now, let me ask you, since you agreed. Okay.
Now, first off, I'm doing it because he feels this hook, and now he's trying to defend himself, but he doesn't know where he messed up. He doesn't know that, so he doesn't know what to say. So he's just got like every time I say something, he's trying to cut me off. He's trying to talk. Now I would have just muted him, but at this point, it's like, you know how a mouse has a cat has a mouse or whatever, and the mouse is scared trying to run away, and the cat's not really worried about it because the cat knows the mouse ain't going nowhere. So the cat's just like playing, like tossing him around, kinda. That's kind of why I'm just like tossing you around a little bit. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm kind of just like just ignore. Take what I said. Don't take that the wrong way. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But he knows. He knows he's done. He knows I have him. It's like a boxing match, and he's on the ropes. I could knock him out, but I just have enough energy to go another round. So I'm just gonna be dodging his blows a little bit, lightly tap him, just to get some of my energy out. I can knock him out anytime I wanted to. And that's why he's fighting so hard, because his one eye is swollen and he feels like, oh, I'm going to get knocked out. But he doesn't have a chance because he knew he messed up. That's why he's so defensive right now.
Now, Patrick, don't overtalk the host now, Patrick. All right? But we agree on that. Don't we agree that white people and black people should be able to live free lives like Dr. King would have wanted? Little white girls and white boys and white girls. Okay, now let me ask you. As far as the descendants of slaves, foundational Black Americans getting reparations, how much of support of that would you be in? Getting trillions of dollars in reparations exclusively to the foundational Black Americans.
How good was affirmative action for the black man to society?
Now he said affirmative action.
Do you think affirmative action is a good thing?
Somebody else brought that up to me. Affirmative action. Now I'm gonna let me talk. I'm gonna let me talk, and then I'm gonna talk.
White people took over affirmative action. But let me ask you, because
Now I was quick with that. I'm not playing no games of affirmative action. Family, don't let them bring up affirmative action to you. White women benefit from affirmative action the most. They are the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action. Even though affirmative action was supposed to be about black people, because black people were discriminated for positions that black people qualified for. They were hiring a whole bunch of white people. They were letting white people in their schools. So affirmative action came in and said, okay, you have to hire qualified black people. You can't just overlook black people and fill your whole thing up with white people. So then what they did was they switched the wording, which is why wording, the way you word things, are so important. They switched the wording. They're not going to say African American, black, or whatever. They were like, okay, we're just going to say minority. Okay, so minorities, they get affirmative action. And now we can make anybody a minority. We can just, you're a minority for being a female, being born a female, which technically, numerically, doesn't make you a minority. But you're a minority. You're a minority for being this. The thing is so vague. The term minority is so vague. Anybody can qualify as a minority. Like literally for anything. You can, if your eyes are blue, you can be that's a minority. Most people's eyes are brown. So blue eyes, don't that make you a minority? Most people aren't blonde. Does blonde hair make you a minority? Most people aren't 6 feet tall. Does being tall make you a minority? They're saying you're a minority if you're a woman. You're a minority if you're not white. You're a minority if you're gay. You're a minority if you're this. You can be a minority if you're left-handed. That's why we don't play that whole minority stuff. It's too vague and it filters black people out. That's why white women are the ones who benefit. Let me show you again. That's why white women are the ones who benefit most from affirmative action, because the minority loophole, and they know that. White supremacists only bring up minority when they want to talk about black people. When they don't care that other people, other races of people benefit from affirmative action. So I quickly debunked, and I'm like, no, the white people took affirmative action. White people benefit from that. And he knows that. That's why he didn't go back and forth with me.
Martin Luther King never said anything about affirmative action. What do you think about reparations?
Well, didn't you guys, when slaves were freed, they got a mule and 40 acres.
That didn't
First off, hold on.
happen. We were promised 40 acres and a mule. We didn't get it. What do you think about?
Then somebody else said this to me too. White people didn't black people get 40 acres? And I was literally today, I was talking to somebody, another black person, and we've had discussions about black issues before. And I brought up the thing of reparations, and this is one of them old Negroes. But we brought up the topic on reparations before, and he was all like, "Okay, well, how do you feel reparations should be?" I said, reparations should be checks. Reparations should be cash payments, just like how the government gave stimulus checks. And he was all like, "Well, I mean, how much should black people get? I mean, don't you feel like we got reparations already? Didn't we get the 40 acres and a mule?" I'm sitting up there like, where did y'all go to school? Who told y'all that black people ever got? We were owed 40 acres and a mule. We never got that. That was going to be something that was going to give black people a fighting chance to be competitive against the dominant society after the Civil War. That was the reward. The Union General William T. Sherman, he met up with black people who were the leaders in the community. He met up with black people and they negotiated, okay, how much will it take for black people to create a society where they can sustain themselves? Because if you give people, and this is something Dr. King said too, they don't ever want to bring that up. if you just let people go free and you don't give them any economic base, which is why economics is so important. If you let black people go free and you don't give them any economic base, you deny them any economic support, you're giving them the freedom to starve. That's a quote from Dr. King. They don't want to bring that quote up, but without any economic base, which is what the 40 acres and a mule was supposed to be, without the economic base, you're pretty much not freeing them. Because when Washington, William, I keep saying Washington, when William T. Sherman made that arrangement, and then the Civil War was won, and then Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and then Andrew Johnson became the president. Andrew Johnson, who was a white supremacist, and he came in with black laws and stuff. He was like, okay, I know that the 40 acres and mule, we're not doing none of that. Y'all not getting anything at all. Black people did not receive the 40 acres and a mule, period. Don't know what people are talking about. Oh, then we get no, we didn't get the 40 acres and a mule. Black people did not get that. Black people still found a way. Black people still became millionaires one generation after slavery, but black people never got the 40 acres and a mule, which is why black people had to go through sharecropping again, because they needed some type of economic base, and sharecropping was an economic base. With sharecropping, a brief description of that is, you live on the plantation, you live on the white man's property, the slave master's property, and you farm and you do stuff like that, and he gets a portion of the crops you get, the cotton you pick, whatever. He gets a portion of that, of your land, like a share. That's sharecropping. He gets a share of the crops, of your crops on the property, because you're on his property. That's sharecropping. Black people had to do that and give white people a portion, which is pretty much what they were doing before. Black people literally damn near had to go back in slavery because there was no economic base that was promised to us. The 40 acres and a mule that was promised to us for winning the Civil War, and make no mistake, we won the Civil War. Foundational Black Americans won the Civil War. The Civil War would have been lost, and the Confederacy would have won it had it not been for us. And that was our reward, so we can have a foot to stand on after we left the plantations. But that was stripped away from us by the 17th president, Andrew Johnson.
Reparations, slavery reparations.
Is LeBron James going to get...
LeBron James? No. What do you think about slavery reparations?
Then he goes on to LeBron James.
He might be the slave.
What does that have to? Yeah. So you agree he's owed reparations?
I'm asking you, does he deserve reparations?
Yes, he definitely does. And as you, a non-racist white man, you would agree, don't you? It doesn't matter if you're oppressed; you still deserve reparations. Don't you agree?
See, now I got him pausing. I fixed Peaches stuttering. See, that's that hook. Now he feels I'm pulling it all the way in now. He's like, damn, he got me now with the reparations thing. I slipped up when I brought up Dr. King and the reparations, because he doesn't know that I know about Dr. King's view on reparations. He didn't know that. So he slipped up with that. When he was talking about, black people and white people getting along, blah, 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 he didn't know I was going to bring up the reparations thing. So now he knows, like, damn, I'm getting reeled in. He's about to put me in this damn net, and I'm done for. When he's talking about LeBron James, is LeBron James oppressed? Is LeBron James oppressed? Don't matter. That's not. First off, he's a victim of white supremacy because he is a black man. And I do believe LeBron James is a foundational black American. It doesn't matter if LeBron James is rich. And white supremacists constantly bring up LeBron out of all rich black people because they just have an issue with LeBron specifically. Because LeBron is at such a place and there's no controversy to kind of get LeBron. So he's at this place where sometimes he will say something against LeBron. LeBron will say something like against police brutality or whatever. And white people can't say anything because they don't have authority over LeBron. LeBron is like the biggest basketball star in the NBA right now. So they have this big issue specifically with LeBron. Because LeBron reminds them of a Colin Kaepernick that they can't kick out. They just kicked out Colin Kaepernick and said, well, we're kicking you out, but it has nothing to do with you kneeling. We're kicking you out because you're just not a good quarterback. That's the reason why we're banning you from the NFL, period. Because you're just not a good quarterback. It has nothing to do with your kneeling. But LeBron, he's so good, they can't do that to LeBron. So that's why they're like, he's the Colin Kaepernick that they can't do anything with. Even though LeBron, this is just my views, LeBron is a little bit too on the fence sometimes. Like, he doesn't like to go all the way with it. Like, he'll make a tweet and then he'll delete the tweet. And then like make a more calmed down version of that tweet. Someone said Cam Newton too. They don't like the NBA players. They don't like that. They have an issue with Kyrie Irving because Kyrie Irving says, hey, I'm not taking this jab and y'all can't make me. They have an issue with those basketball players because those basketball players don't submit the way they want them to. They were terrified last year when the basketball players said, we're going to protest for Black Lives Matter. These basketball players are a lot more powerful than they actually act like. And I wish these basketball players would stop being so apologetic to the dominant society. And I'm glad and shout out to LeBron again for just being somebody that irritates them. But shout out to Kyrie Irving for not folding like a lot of these other black athletes and black celebrities. Because Kyrie Irving said no, and they was all like, well, you're not going to play. He's like, well, I mean, I guess it is what it is then.
You want me to pay for what? Who's going to pay for that?
You see how he was talking clearly when he was saying black people are racist. Now that I'm reeling him in, now that he knows he's done for, he's caught in the net. Now he's
like, what are you talking about, man? I mean, you're going to pay for reparations too? I mean,
why would I pay for reparations if it's going in my pocket? That makes no sense.
In BP, the Harris, in the Biden administration, both of them had descendants owned slaves.
Yeah, and Biden should pay.
So he just automatically assumes that I'm a Biden supporter. So he's all like, well, Biden owned slaves. I'm like, well, yep. And Biden definitely deserved. We need reparations specifically from Biden's pocket, not just the government. I want whatever's in his wallet.
Reparations, yep. So you agree? You agree that black? You agree? You agree?
You want to pay the most richest among us reparations from some of the poorest in the country just because of the color of their skin. And
so he's saying that we should get paid some of the poorest. White people are not the poorest in the country. Black people are the poorest in the country.
had no descendants.
No. I'm talking specifically and only about the. Don't overtalk the host, Patrick. I warned you several times. Don't overtalk the host, Patrick. You're
now, see, he's getting mad and he's getting super defensive now because he knows he's done for.
Privilege doesn't work here. Don't overtalk the host, Patrick. Do you feel like you agree with Dr. Martin Luther King that in order to end racism, we have to pay reparations? That's absurd. You said no. That's absurd.
That's absurd. And I said in the beginning of the video, I'm all like, they're gonna talk about Dr. King. They're gonna talk about the version of Dr. King that they like. They're not gonna talk about the version of Dr. King that he actually was. The reason why they were like, okay, we're gonna have to kill him. They're not gonna talk about that version. He briefly brought it up because they know when he was talking about when Dr. King said, oh, we're gonna come to blows. This racial fight is gonna come to blows. They know about Dr. King saying that. They know about Dr. King saying all of that stuff.
It's absolutely absurd. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Now that was pretty much it. I'm like, okay, I caught Patrick. Patrick is rambling at this point. He knows he's done for. He's saying a whole bunch of random stuff. Yeah, Patrick. No, Patrick. No, Patrick. No, we're good. We're done, Patrick. Let's see some of the comments here. You guys been commenting a lot. Julian, hey, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? Now, it's been a lot of comments, so I'm not going to be able to read everybody's. I'm going to look for a few of them. Nino Black just says America fought to end race. Yeah, America never fought to end racism. America never fought to end racism. I'm going to wrap I've been on for a bit of time. To wrap this up, these are points. When white supremacist calls you, do not let them lead the discussion. Do not let them change anything. I recently had Sunday. Was it Sunday? Was it Sunday or another day? I recently had a conversation on Twitter, which is why you guys should be following me. I had a space where we were talking about black on black businesses. And then a white person came into the discussion and asked to speak. So the white person asked to speak, and I'm all like, I was weird. I was like, I don't know. But there was another sister, Mary, asked a question, a general question to people in the chat room. So she was all like, okay, do you know how, like, I guess I forgot the question, but how to, like, legally maneuver and pass this stuff out? And all, like, okay. So at that point, after she asked that question, then the white girl asked to speak. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe the white girl has some type of insight. Because the thing is, with the dominant society, white people know a whole bunch of tax breaks. They know a whole bunch of legal maneuvers, and they know a whole bunch of loopholes and benefits and perks and where to go to get this and how to reduce the charge and price on this. They know a whole bunch of that stuff, and they keep that stuff hidden. That's hidden knowledge in their community. And if a white person wants to tell about how to cheat the system like they do all the time, or how to maneuver past obstacles, I will let them tell it. So when she asks to speak, I'm like, okay, well, maybe you're trying to answer her question, so I'll let you answer her question. If you know how to get past, she had some type of I guess property issue question or something. I'm like, okay, I'll let you say. So then when she got on, she was talking about the Platinum Plan, and she was talking about America's made of small businesses and stuff like that. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. And I said this. I don't know if you guys were, people in the chat here were there in the space, but I'm like, we're not going to do the changing the topic from black businesses to small businesses, because small businesses is really white businesses. That's everybody. Everybody counts as small businesses. So we got to help all small businesses, which means we have to help white businesses too. And that's not going to decrease the racial gap. That's not going to decrease the racial gap by giving everybody an equal boost. And that's why I said, I'm like, okay, I thought you were going to say something else. This is a black first conversation. We're talking about black businesses. We're not changing it because white people are used to black people to leading. White people are used to black people leading. I mean, white people are used to black people allowing them to lead when we let them in the room. The second I let you in the question, if you didn't say what you were supposed to say, I'm like, okay, well, we're not doing that here. We're not doing that. And then she left. She was like, okay, well, all right then. I'm going to leave. Which she knew. She knew. I'm like, okay, well, because people are like, I don't even know if you should let her speak. I'm like, I'm just hear her out. I'm going to just hear what she has to say. Because I felt she was addressing that question, that girl's question. But the thing is that you do not let white people control you around. I've seen too many debates where the white person is changing the conversation and the black person is trying to address every point the white person made. No, when I ask you a question, you stay on the question. You talking about LeBron James trying to get me off on LeBron James? No, I'm talking about reparations. You want to talk about LeBron James getting reparations? LeBron James got reparations. Tangier, what is here? How you doing? Research how land 40 acres is at how much for how much 40 acres actually is. And that and a mule for each slave is each slave freed is what would have been given to them theirs for fighting for a fighting chance. That's how far behind we were, and that's how far. I'm sorry, I don't know why I can't see it. That's how far behind we were, and that's how long ago, and that's how long ago. Okay, listen. Not only that, so when we talk about 40 acres and a mule, when we talk about that, let's not forget too the land that was supposed to be dedicated, the 40 acres. It wasn't just any random 40 acres. It was 40 acres of hospitable land. And the mule, because they use animals to help farming and help crops and stuff like that, they were going to use the mule to help them bring in resources. Can you imagine just 40 acres alone and the mule, how much back then, how much that would be today for every free black slave, and how much generational wealth that was. The 40 acres and a mule was going to be enough to give them generational wealth. We have to think about it like this. When you burn down a grocery store, when you burn down a restaurant or a business, you're not just burning down the actual property, and you're burning down the equipment or whatever in that business. That's not just the total cost. You have to think of how much that business would have made, how much money would have been generated from that business, how much of a loss is it that business is burned down. We're looking at it, how much is 40 acres and a mule worth? Because I've seen people talk about however much 40 acres and a mule was worth was how much black people should be paid reparations. No, how much wealth could 40 acres and a mule have generated for black people? That could have generated way more money. Let me see. You read out. It says, let me read some of the stuff. Let me read it again. Research how much research how much land 40 acres and a mule actually is. It says that 40 acres actually is. That and a mule for each free slave is what have given them theirs, which is slaves, a fighting chance. That's how far behind we were, and that's how long ago. And that's how long ago. That question, she's asking a question. I don't want to misquote anything. Okay? That's what would have given us a fighting chance. We never got that. Don't let them play it, well, didn't y'all get 40 acres and a mule? They know the hell we didn't. They know that. They know black history. They are very keen to history and what happened. That's why they obsess over it. They act like we are obsessed over the past. They keep making history movies. They keep making slave movies. They keep making all these types of, they keep bringing up history because they don't want to forget it, because they don't want to go in the wrong direction. All right. Thank you, Tangier, for your comment, because your comment was intelligent. You had an intelligent comment. Thank you, Nino Black. Thank you, Bronze the God. Julian, Dylan, Angus, thank you in here. Mr. McCoy. Who else was in here? Kenneth, appreciate you, brother. And Megan, thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Been in here for a decent minute now. But this is it for this episode. This is it. There won't be a video Thursday. I got some things to do. I got some things to do Thursday. I'm gonna be busy. I will try to have a small 20-minute reaction video Thursday. Set that up Thursday if I can get that edited and everything. I'm busy this week. This week is very busy. If I could tell you how busy I was last week and this week, you guys probably wouldn't believe me. But you guys like, share, leave a comment, subscribe if you guys have not. Trying to get this channel to grow, and I appreciate your support, my brothers and sisters. And he says, fam, before you go, did you see Dave's response? Dave Chappelle's response No, I did not see Dave Chappelle's response. Let me see that real quick. Cause I heard they was coming at him. Let me see. See, now Nino, you got me. Now I'm interested. I was just about to leave. Dave Chappelle. I'm looking that up right now. Response. I hope before I Google this, I hope Dave did not bend like all these other black celebrities when they say something. Kevin Hart, cough cough. Even though they were doing Kevin Hart bogus, Kevin Hart bended. Who's that? Nick Cannon bended. Snoop Dogg. I hope Dave didn't bend. Let me see. Dave Chappelle's response 6 hours ago. I'm proud of Dave. Let me let y'all see the response. I'm gonna show the response to you guys because I'm proud of our brother Dave right here. And this happened 6 hours ago. Oh, thanks Nino for letting me know about that. Oh, hold on. You see that? Why is this okay. That's weird. Oh, okay. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Anyway, I'm gonna just close that out for a second. Dave Chappelle's response says he won't be bending to anyone's demands over closer, which was the title of the thing. Praises Ted Sarando. I guess that I don't know whose that is. So I guess Ted Sarando might be the owner or CEO or something. But he said he's not bending. And this is what happens when a black man stands his square. He gets respect. He gets treated with respect. Dave said what he said, and he's like, I'm not going to apologize to racist white trans people who are offended that I called out their racism. So shout out to Dave Chappelle. Shout out to him. Kid Greeboy 1 says, when are FBAs going to pay Liberia reparations? FBAs don't owe Liberia any reparations. We don't. So Liberia, y'all need to get on code. Y'all need to get on code before y'all do anything. Dave stood his ground. I'm proud of Dave, but I'm gonna get off here. Shout out to LeBron, shout out to Curry Irvin, and shout out to Dave Chappelle. And shout out to you guys, my brothers and sisters, for watching. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, okay? Share, put this on your Twitter or tell a friend. Watch this with a significant other or something like that. Spread the word, spread black empowerment. I will see you guys next week if I don't put a video out this week. Follow me on my social media at J_Elite10, both on Instagram and Twitter. Peace out.